On Newsnight tonight, 15 million cedis worth of books going waste due to the introduction of a new curriculum. Ghana Book Publishers Association say they are distressed.
Dealing with the big issue about the spirits of the dam, we believe that we're beginning to work our way to finding concrete, solid solutions to it.
Apologies there. We'll be hearing from the book publishers shortly. Textbooks for the new curriculum are still not on the market. 1 week to the start of the new academic year. We have details for you here on Newsnight. Also, we have the very latest for you on the exclusive details from the investigations carried out by MIDA into the PDS scandal. Tonight, we know that PDS has been cleared of any wrongdoing in that demand guarantee scandal that led to its suspension. Stay with us for more on this. Also tonight, disqualified parliamentary aspirant of Asawase constituency rejects accusations he masterminded violent protests at the Ashanti regional office of the party over his disqualification.
People are discerning, people can read in between lines, and I don't have to tell someone to go and do something before they do it. So it's not true that I have instigated my supporters to cause mayhem.
And some news just coming in. There is a deployment of a military contingent on the campus of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. We'll tell you why shortly. We'll be going there live now as we're hearing former students of Katanga Hall at the KNUST are currently protesting in the wake of attempts to turn that hall into a mixed hall. This is so raging. We'll be going there live for the very latest. In business,
economist Courage Mate warns of some challenging times for the economy. The current global trade war doesn't end anytime soon.
And in sports, we bring you the key points from this afternoon's Ghana Football Association Extraordinary Congress.
Want to join us with your views and comments? Let me hear from you. 0244 340437. It's the WhatsApp line. My name is Evan Spencer. Well, the Ghana Book Publishers Association says its members are distressed. Here's why. Their books are in excess of 15 million CDs are wasting away in warehouses across the country. They do not meet the requirements of the new curriculum. The Ghana Education Service earlier this year announced the rollout of the new curriculum that will focus on what it calls total development of the child and not examination focus. The publishers, however, say the books will not be ready when the academic year starts next week. Listen to the president of the association, Elias Ajari.
Our role was to develop the textbooks and submit them to NACA for evaluation, and that the ministry will buy books after that process. As we speak now, we have made, a few of us have submitted books to NACA. Most of us are in the process of developing the textbooks. The evaluation process, we have not heard that the evaluation process has commenced. So as we speak now, so far as we're concerned, no books have been, or no evaluation of books have been completed to allow the ministry to start the procurement process. I think that, for a definitive answer to this, I think that it's better addressed to the NACA or to the ministry. But so far as we are concerned, our members are in the process of submitting their books. And no books have been assessed yet, according to our knowledge. And no one of our members has received their evaluation reports, which allows even the ministry to start the procurement process.
Now, while the books, the challenge with the books, has become an issue, as you just heard him there talk about. He's been talking about books worth millions, 50 million to be specific, going waste because they're simply not useful for the newer curriculum.
What it is that we have stock that we are going to sell for this academic year. Unfortunately, we are starting a new curriculum that does not need those old books. And an estimate from our members, we collated from our members, we are getting to about 15 million Ghana cedis now. And that's from just maybe about 10 of our members. We are a 100 member association. So what happens if we pull it all together? And that's separate from what the booksellers also are claiming to have in their stock. So it could well be a very gigantuan figure.
What do you think could be done about this?
I don't know whether the government can come to our aid, because this is a very distressed industry. I mean, looking at what is happening, this should be the peak time, but nobody's buying any books. And many people depend on the book industry for their livelihoods.
We can speak to Elias Ajari, who is joining us on the telephone line right now. Mr. Ajari, thank you for your time here on Newsnight.
Good evening, and thank you for calling me.
Okay, great. Let's start with the new textbooks for the new curriculum. Is it the case that you were informed late about the change in the curriculum, and that's why you haven't been able to put in place the structures that will deliver the books?
I wouldn't want to comment on that. What I can say is that the new curriculum was made ready in April, and we were asked to download from the NACA website and start the development of textbooks for the new curriculum. And I must add that we've not been responsible for any timetable as to whether it's early or late. We were told to develop it. I mean, what we do know is that, in anticipation of, or probably in anticipation of the fact that the books will not be ready, NACA went ahead and developed teacher resource guides and teacher packs for schools. And teachers have been trained to use it in the new, when the school reopens. So that's what we do know. The submission process itself is a rolling submission. Our members are to submit the books when they are ready for NACA. We've not been told that books are going to be procured for this academic year. So, I can hazard a guess as to what the timetable really is for the purchase of books. That the ministry anticipated that books will be ready for this academic year or not.
And that is an important point, especially for parents. So knowing what you know, you've worked in this industry for a long time, and knowing where you are right now with the new curriculum, the books, when will be the earliest time you can have the textbooks ready for the approval?
Listen, what I'm saying is that we have been asked to develop textbooks, and normally it takes about 90 or 50 days for the earliest things to be made. The curriculum was given to us somewhere in April. So that means the guidelines which will govern the bill was actually made ready for us on the 17th of July. And as I speak now, 2 or 2.5 weeks ago, we have some changes. So the expectation that...
Sorry, Mr. Ajari, I'm having a challenge with that line. I'll get my producer to re-establish contact with you. Let's rectify the line. Let's bring him back on. Schools are reopening next week, and parents will need to know when the textbooks will be ready, but teachers as well. We'll be speaking to Nathan Nagrat also on this, but also getting to understand more about this 15 million cedis worth of books that the publishers are telling us may go to waste because they are no longer needed for the new curriculum that has been rolled out by the GES. But let's stay with issues on education. We'll return to the publishers' concerns shortly. At the University of Education, Winneba, the new governing council has been sworn in, and it says it will soon roll out an all-inclusive plan to resolve the long-standing impasse at the institution. Now, the removal of the former Vice Chancellor Mauto Avoka and some other lecturers triggered disagreements, court suits, and violent protests that led to a temporary closure of the schools. The institution has not been able to graduate this latest batch of students. Now, Professor Avoka himself recently stormed the campus demanding reinstatement. Inaugurating the council today, Education Minister March Opoku Prempeh called for peace on campus.
I charge you to take urgent steps to ensure that peace and stability return to UW campus as soon as possible. This will in turn enable the smooth running of academic programs and the normalcy of campus life at the university. In particular, as the body in charge of running of the university, I further charge you to deal with a number of outstanding grievances of certain individuals in the university to ensure harmony on the labor front. I also entreat you to consider setting a date for congregation as soon as possible. As soon as possible. No, congregation is the only time I get to feel I'm important. As soon as possible, and as a matter of urgency. Thousands of young men and women remain at home, anxious to graduate in order to pursue employment or further studies. However, they are to do so because of the absence of a university council. You must therefore take the necessary step aimed at primarily at bringing relief to them. I wish to inform you that I've received a petition from a former Vice Chancellor of the university and other officers on a number of issues. This is a matter for the Council to consider and take necessary and relevant steps, and I shall be passing this to you accordingly before you depart. I am confident that you'll be able to bring your expertise and vast experiences to bear in seeking to resolve these outstanding matters.
Well, there is a commitment on the part of the new council to fix the issues that have bedeviled the university. The chairman of the council is Professor Obin Merku. He's been speaking to my colleague, Joseph Akable.
Would have to sit down and then we tap on the collective wisdom of every single member of the council and consult with relevant stakeholders, be it staff, be it academics, be it student groups, be it traditional authorities, all of them, and government interest. All stakeholders would have to be consulted, and through consultation and dialogue, meaningful engagement with stakeholders, we are very hopeful that a solution will be found.
Would this include some aggrieved persons like the former Vice Chancellor? We understand the petition has been...
Yes, we would examine every single issue and see how best to tap on the collective wisdom of the council and seek to resolve them.
For the students, the most pressing issue has to do with their graduation, which didn't happen. How soon can they expect a response from you?
Yes, again, we appreciate the urgency of the matter, and we would put it high on the agenda of the council and seek to address it as soon as possible.
Well, you know that the UTAG, that's the University Teachers Association of Ghana, have had serious concerns with the way the University of Education Winneba has dealt with the issues concerning some of its members, but also the former Vice Chancellor. One of the leaders of the protest in the past is Dr. Frimpong Duku. He's the president of the University Teachers Association of Ghana at the University of Education, and he joins us on the telephone line right now. Dr. Duku, thank you for your time here on Newsnight.
Good evening and welcome.
So we just saw the inauguration of the new council. Confident that they can resolve the issues you have?
Per the comments from the council chairman, I had no doubt that this is somebody who is speaking words of wisdom. Everybody, I'm sure, wants the university to move forward. And in doing so, we believe that we need somebody who can direct the affairs of the university. So we have their confidence in them.
Okay, I know that. Are you going to present to them formally what your list of concerns are? Because we had an announcement today that Mr. Avoka apparently has submitted a petition to the education minister.
If you recall, the time that most of our members were dismissed, the old council requested that we should formally petition them, which we did, and they did not attend to that. We will serve the new council with copies of those petitions and see how best they can redress it for us, sir.
You still stand by the demand you made earlier that Mr. Avoka should be reinstated?
Unless there is any foul found against that person. You see, if we build a system in such a way that we allow the strong to operate, that is very wrong for our system to encourage and attract people to serve. But if we build a system where individuals that fall against the laws are punished, if you deserve to be rewarded, you are rewarded. But if you are dismissed based on trump cards of people's allegations and whatever, which has been dismissed by a statutory body, and if we want to let this go, then it's very difficult. I cannot dictate to the council what they should do. But just like they petitioned the minister, and the minister said he will forward it to them, I wish that they take their time to study whatever grievances that they have raised and see how best they can resolve it.
Professor Afro-Browney, who is the current Vice Chancellor, who obviously you have issues with, he's on the council, correct?
Yeah, he is.
And that obviously must be of concern to you, is it not?
No, per our statutes and act, the Vice Chancellor is automatic member, so we can't have problem with that.
Yeah, but you believe that it's Mr. Avoka who should be occupying that position, not him.
That is my certainly belief that I have.
But that obviously is not going to happen anytime soon.
That I can dictate to the council, but I believe at the end of the day they will resolve and see how best they can bring the university. At least it's supposed to be the interest of the university, but not individual members.
I'm grateful that you joined us. That is Dr. Frimpong Duku. He's the president of the University Teachers Association of Ghana at the University of Education, Winneba. I want to quickly return to the issue with the textbooks that we now know for certain that will not be ready for the new academic year beginning next week. That's the textbooks covering the new curriculum. I was speaking to the president of the Ghana Book Publishers Association earlier, Mr. Elias Jari. We lost him briefly. Mr. Jari, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can.
Great, thank you for coming back. I was asking earlier if you could estimate, based on your experience, when the earliest time you think will be that the books could hit the classrooms.
I mean, that is a question that is best addressed by the Ministry of Education, because it's going to come from their procurement processes. Because, I mean, we will have to wait until NACA assesses the books, and then according to what we have been told, the ministry is going to go through the books that NACA has actually assessed and selected as good for use in the schools. And so I don't know what the program is. That I think can be addressed by the Ministry of Education. I'm not too sure when the cutoff is going to be, that at a certain point NACA will be asked to present the books that they have deemed to be fit for use in classrooms. So that will be best answered by NACA and also by the Ministry of Education.
Let's talk about the near 50 million cedis worth of textbooks that you announced today, maybe rotting away and going to waste because they are obsolete. It's the new curriculum has come in. That is a difficult one. How did that happen?
That's a very difficult one, and really this is the first time that we are encountering such a major issue with textbooks and stocks of textbooks which cannot be used in the classroom. Previous changes in curricula had come, but they were not as fundamental as this change in the curriculum. So it was possible to use the previous textbooks in existence in the interim until the new textbooks are developed. But we are facing a situation where there's a fundamental shift in orientation and focus with this new curriculum. And NACA has made it very, very clear to us that those old textbooks will be inappropriate in the new classrooms, which actually means that we have unintended consequences on this policy decision. If NACA has decided that the new curriculum should be rolled out this academic year, and the books are not ready, it means that technically no new textbooks are going to be ready for this academic year. And I think it's for that purpose and to mitigate against that NACA prepared resource packs for all teachers in the country. And apparently 100 and something thousand of these resource packs have been printed and being distributed across the country for teachers to use until textbooks are procured for use in the classrooms.
Did I hear earlier that one of your members had a medical issue when they were told that?
I mean, and that is one of the unintended consequences that I was mentioning. This one had a tragic end for us. In fact, it did happen at a meeting with NACA when this news was actually broken to us, that it was almost out of an agitation. It was almost impossible for the old books to be used in classrooms. And unfortunately, our member who died was one of those who was at the forefront of trying to push for the suspension of the implementation this year, so that it will give us the chance to be able to sell the old books that we had in stock. But that is not a decision that we could influence.
So what happened to what? He collapsed on hearing the news?
During the very meeting that we were having with NACA, he collapsed. We rushed him to 37. By 10 o'clock in the evening, he was a goner.
Well, so how are your members coping in the wake of this?
It's under very, very difficult circumstances, I must add. And you see, this 15 million that I mentioned is an estimate that is coming from just a few of our members. It's stocks that we have had and which members sell in the open market to schools. And some of them bring container loads. I mean, this is supposed to be the busiest time of this is the time when publishers and booksellers sell books the most. But if you visit Top Road and some of the major centers where books are being sold, the schools are refusing to take any books of the old. And we can understand that to a certain extent, because word has gone around that the old textbooks are of no use. And there's even rumor that is going around that there's a directive. I mean, we can't substantiate that. There's a directive from on high that books that have been, that the schools are not supposed to buy any books from publishers. So it's a huge dilemma that is facing us. This 15 million is coming from probably just about 10 to 15 publishers who have estimated the worth of their stock. The booksellers have not estimated how much stock they actually have in their warehouses.
Yeah,
so it's a major issue.
I see the ripple effect. Is this something that you want to raise with government?
I think it's something that, yes, I mean that is one of the reasons for this press conference today. Apart from the fact that we wanted the public to know that we are doing our best to make sure that we get the books for the new books for the curriculum and the role that we are playing in making sure that the new books are
and this begs the question: with many of your members already committed financially to the old textbooks, will they have enough to produce what we require for all our students across the country?
I mean, this is an industry and a lot of distress. And I think that, I mean, a certain investigation into what is happening in this, I think, critical industry. And it's critical, it's a very critical industry because we supply books by and large for both education and cultural enrichment for the country. And if we come under that kind of level of distress, and this is going to be the major loss. There are many people working in the book chain, along the value chain. They are editors, they are writers, they are publishers, they are booksellers, they are book distributors. Many people, live off books in the country. They are printers. So, I mean, there are many publishers now who owe huge amounts of money to printers, and they are not able to pay because the books are in the warehouse. So it's a major problem. I don't know whether we'll have a bailout like I've had a bailout, but a certain level of investigation is done.
You need
industry to find out what is really happening and the level of distress, so that if there's any aid that will come to us, even as we prepare to get books for the new curriculum.
But I hear you say you need a bailout.
Why not? Why not? Can you just imagine if we have this level of stock in our warehouses? The drain on us is not on us alone. It's a drain on the economy.
I'm grateful that you joined us. That's Elias Ajari, the president of the Ghana Book Publishers Association, asking for bailout for his members. He says one of them already collapsed and died when they heard that they're no longer going to use the textbooks they've already stockpiled. Listening to News Night here on Joy 99.7 FM. I want to stay with education for a while longer on this subject very quickly, because the Ghana Education Service has been holding a major news conference tonight on all the issues that you want answers to as a parent. Komla Dome was there for us and is on the line with me. Komla, very briefly, Komla, the subject of the textbooks. Did the GS address that, and what is the answer to the question that the book publishers are asking tonight?
Well, Evans, according to the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, the issue of textbooks is not really an issue, specifically regarding the 15 million cedi worth of books that they say are going to go away. The GS General says the new curriculum is not going to affect content of the teaching and learning in school. It is just the pedagogy, which is the approach or the method of a teaching that is going to be affected. In that case, the publishers should find innovative ways, in its words, innovative ways of selling their books and incorporating the content of the books that is in the new curriculum to fit the system. And that, in his view, is not even a matter to even come up for.
And Komla, also today, NAGRAT called the strike ahead of the reopening of schools because they raise issues with human resource management that they believe is affecting their members negatively. Did the GS address this at all?
Well, Evans, the GS Director General touched on that, but let me just add to the issue of the curriculum. He mentioned that, contrary to concerns that the lack of a textbook for the new curriculum to be rolled out will affect teaching and learning. He says the teachers, over 152,000 of them, have been adequately trained, and they have also been equipped with teacher packs or teacher materials, what they are going to be using in the interim to teach the students while they wait for the approved textbooks to be procured. And on the question about the strike by the Association of Graduate Teachers, the Director General mentioned that he was learning about it for the first time when the question was put to him. And he said that during the 3-day conference that is happening here in Ibre, there are representatives of NAGRAT in the meeting, and issue of salary arrears or promotions and all that came up at the press conference today has not come up yet in this meeting. He says that if the leadership of NAGRAT who are in the meeting raise the issues, they will find an amicable solution to before they depart a brief tomorrow. And so he says they are going to be having some engagement with the NAGRAT officials who are currently participating in the 3-day conference on rolling out a new code of conduct for teachers and education directors. And after these issues are raised at the conference, there will be a solution to it.
Thank you very much, Komla. And now a major question that is on the minds of many is, this is the first time that under this current government and its free SHS policy, all 3 streams will now have to be benefiting from it. The Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Professor Opoku Amankwa, updated today at the press conference that already the government has released over 194 million cedis for the payment of fees under this year's free SHS program.
An amount of 194 million 523,037 Ghana cedis have been set aside for the payment of the fees for the free SHS for the first term. Now, you will recall that the 3rd years when they were going to school, we paid an amount of 61 million, which is the 20% that we've just spoken about. We paid an amount of 61 million for the first years. With the revision that has been done, what it means is that an additional 14 million will be paid to the schools for the 3rd years. The 2nd years, a total of 85 million will also be paid for them. And then for the first years, by our projections, we also will be paying a total of 95 million. If you put all together, you come up to a total of 194,523,037. And this is the initial amount that is going to the schools for the running of the schools as part of the free SHS program.
Well, he also indicated that a committee has already been set up to look into the feeding of students when school reopens. That is a major issue that Charles, the heads of assisted secondary schools, have consistently complained about.
Management has taken notes of the issues which have come up with regard to feeding, and in the process of reviewing the menu for the schools. As we speak now, a committee, that is, we have a committee that we call the Food Committee, have been meeting to look at issues relating to feeding in our schools. In relation to supplies of food, we work closely with the Ghana Buffer Stock Company, and we have given them the date for reopening. So they have also indicated these dates to their schools, to their suppliers who will be supplying the food to the schools. Now, management is pleased to inform you that the Honorable Minister of Education has authorized an increase in the percentage of money released to schools to cover perishable items from 20% to 30%. What we do is that we give the schools 20% of the amount that has been earmarked for feeding, and they use that 20% to buy perishables, the consumables and the other things.
And that says the GS Director General there, Professor Opoku-Amankwah. I want to take you, still with education, I want to take you now from the GS issues to the tertiary level and now to the campus of the KNUST in Kumasi, where there is a military deployment tonight on that campus. Why? My colleague Erastus Saridonko is on the line with me to explain. Erastus, why do we have military men on the KNUST campus tonight?
Well, it's arising out of a release which was issued by the Regional Security Council yesterday, which indicated that they've had information that some students are trying to foment trouble. In fact, some alumni are trying to coerce some students to foment trouble on campus. And so they have declared the place a security zone. And so currently, as I speak with you, I'm at the Katanga Hall and have some of the students, females, coming in, checking and trying to prepare themselves towards registration into the hall starting tomorrow. And this is what has angered some of the alumni and continuing students of Katanga Hall, who claim that they will not allow the mixed hall initiative or process to continue. They want their hall back. And so currently they are at the outskirts of the university chanting songs and all that. But here in the university, we have and we have been speaking with some of them, gauging their mood and trying to understand what their grievances are. We can take a listen to them now.
What we are doing here is a private gathering of fellows. Anybody who is completed university hall within any time frame, you are welcome to our private gathering. That is all.
But I can see you guys holding placards. This one says Katanga, Ukuma Pima Pimbeba. There are other ones. We want our hall back, or Kumien Preko. What is happening?
We have grievances. It's as simple as it is. We as Katangis, former Katangis and current Katangis, we have grievances. Our way of showing off our grievances, this is it. We have grievances. We want our hall back instituted as a meal hall, as it has been for the past 53 years. As simple as it is.
So, in effect, this whole thing is about the mixed hall saga.
It's about the mixed hall saga.
And you are not allowing the halls to be turned into a mixed hall.
No, please.
Well, that is one of the protesters chanting songs there just in and around the perimeter of the KNUST, protesting a release today that said that investigation into the cause of the riots on the campus some time ago that led to a security situation on campus has finished, and this all has to do with the attempt to convert Katanga into a mixed hall, and the former students and current students are very vehemently opposed to that. Still ahead here on Newsnight, South African High Commissioner to Ghana says media reports are partly to blame for the continued xenophobic attacks in South Africa.
98% of the things that you hear are not true. So we have realized that social media has contributed a lot to sowing panic, pandemonium.
We'll hear more from the Deputy South African High Commissioner to Ghana after business. Also, we'll bring you more on the breaking news tonight from the PDS investigations. PDS has been cleared of all wrongdoing in that scandal that broke last month, bordering on possible fraud. The investigations that were conducted by MIDA, the Millennium Development Authority, through a private consultant, found that there was nothing to suggest there had been fraud or conspiracy on the part of PDS. Stay with us for more on this after business. Hello, George.
Hi, Event. And coming up in business, economist Courage Mate warns of some challenging times for the economy. The current global trade war between China and US doesn't end soon. And Coca-Cola Ghana reveals plans to support government in reviving the Commander Sugar Factory. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials. And First National Bank, we are the bank that understands your business. First National Bank, how can we help you?
So everyone says I'm a Kosia filler, but it's not like I'm nosy or go out to find out the latest filler. It's just that I get 50 megabytes of data free after paying for only the first minute of every call. And so I just keep discovering stuff minute after minute. That's how come I was minding my business, scrolling through my timeline, and I found out Coco has a new baby. Oh, and last week I learned Ken won the lottery. You see, Ken is my brother's friend. So hello, look who's about to roll with the rich and famous.
Enjoy even more value with MTN Free After One. You only pay for the first minute of your call on MTN Free After One, and the rest is free. Plus, you enjoy free 50 megabytes worth of data to browse your favorite sites. Compare where, compare there. So dial *315# to sign up. We day for you everywhere you go. Terms and conditions apply.
Kingdom Books this year back to school promotion is in conjunction with Citidia Supermarket. Buy school items worth 100 Ghana cedis from Kingdom Books and get 12% discount voucher to purchase from Citidia and vice versa. School items include textbooks, pens, pencils, erasers, exercise books across all Kingdom Books branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Takoradi, and Cape Coast. Kingdom Books, where quality and affordability is assured. For further information, call 0302-764209 or 0302-746101 and 0501-401050. Terms and conditions apply.
It's now time for the Joy News Habitat Fair 2019 main event at the Accra International Conference Center. As Ghana's one-stop shop for the building and construction industry, this year we are pushing the theme, Rethinking Building Technology in Ghana to give true meaning to affordable housing. Thinking of buying a home or remodeling your existing structure? Want to know about exciting new trends or just looking for exquisite and durable accessories to make your home unique? Then join us for the Joy News Habitat Fair 2019 in collaboration with Elegant Homes and Super Sem Cement. From insurance, finance, security, and energy, we have you covered. It's a 3-day event at the Accra International Conference Center from Friday, September 20 to Sunday, September 22, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. each day. To sponsor or exhibit, please contact 054-431-0864 or 054-690-8179. The 2019 Joy News Habitat Fair is brought to you by Elegant Homes and General Construction, where quality meets value. Super Sem Cement, build your dream. Magazine and is sponsored by Perto, Timeless Architectural Fittings, DBS Roofing, Roofing Papa Fie, Vodafone Fixed Broadband. The future is exciting. Domod Roof, distinct and dependable. Millennium Home Insurance, your trustworthy insurer. And Elbeam Realty, your home is your wealth. Join News Habitat Fair 2019, rethinking building technology to give true meaning to affordable housing.
Joy 99.7 FM.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, economist Courage Mate is warning of some challenging times for the economy if the current global trade war doesn't end soon. Now, the fight between the two economic giants, that is US and China, have escalated, the two countries placing additional tariff imports to the other country. Mr. Mate tells Joy Business he fears Ghana could be one of the worst casualties when it comes to developing countries being badly affected.
Looking at our export revenue, which is significantly dominated by three commodities, cocoa, crude oil and gold, which account for over 80% of our export revenue. If trade tensions weaken commodity prices, we might see a little bit of exposure on that front, and that would have some implication for currency stability. Come to the domestic market and you see the risk of election uncertainty and investor aversion to this risk and their movement, which could destabilize currency position and will have implication on price pressures, investment flows, and could also negatively or cut the strength of the real sector expansion. And so these are the key risks: domestic risk and election uncertainty and investor reaction to this.
Courage Mate is an economist with DataBank. Coca-Cola Bottling Company has assured government of its commitment to support initiatives aimed at reviving the Commander Sugar Factory in the Central Region. The factory, which has been shut down for some time now, is expected to be taken over by some private investors. According to Coca-Cola, it's ready to source its raw material from the company when it becomes operational. Head of Public Affairs and Communications, Bethel Yeboah, tells Joy Business it has made some recommendations to the Trade Ministry regarding the factory.
Because we have been doing this business involving sugar, we have the expertise when it comes to quality and all of that. So government wanted us to support bringing the Commander Sugar Factory back to its feet, and we have participated in helping government do that. And we've shared our expertise, with government in that regard. And we are always ready to support government to come up with whatever business ventures that would help the economy. So as of now, we have shared everything that we can and we know with government as far as our area of expertise is concerned. And I know the government has taken it and is working with it. So let's all, hope that in the nearest future, we should have the Commander Sugar Factory moving as we all expect.
Bethel Yeboah spoke to Joy Business after the Spain-Ghana Chamber of Commerce toured the factory here in Accra. Now, more banks say they see mobile money as a major growth driver of their business going forward. Now, this was one of the main view of chief executives of 19 commercial banks captured in the 2019 Banking Survey report. The survey was put together by accounting firm PricewaterhouseCoopers. It sought to understand how the recent regulatory actions has impacted on their operations. Destiny Atatise is a director at PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Remember, it all started by some of the executive thinking that the telcos and the mobile banking business was actually going to be a hindrance to the growth of their deposit level. But the response we got from the respondent were more of seeing them as partners and the mobile money business helping them actually growing their deposit level. Sure. And that is why they've indicated that they see more collaboration going forward with people playing in this space in helping them build up their deposit level.
Destiny Atatise is a director at accounting firm PricewaterhouseCoopers. Still in the industry, some banks say they indeed have learned their lessons from the recent banking sector cleanup. Executive Director in charge of banking business at First Atlantic Bank, Daniel Mafo, who disclosed this to Joy Business that the bank actually maintained that they have put structures in place to put the bank on a strong footing. He spoke to Joy Business at the opening of First Atlantic Bank's 37th branch at Ashama here in Accra.
We respect corporate governance. We make sure that we do the right things. We make sure that we are compliant. We respect the regulations laid down by Bank of Ghana. We make sure that we are very flexible in the way we do our things and to make sure that we don't take unnecessary risk. I mean, the banking industry is a risk industry. And therefore, you have to make sure that whatever you are doing, as you are lending to the customers, you must have mechanisms in place to be able to collect what you are giving out.
Daniel Mafo, he is an executive director in charge of business banking at First Atlantic Bank. To the stock market, if you hold shares in EcoBank, you lost 3 pesos on each share held and is now worth 8 Ghana cedis, 14 pesos. Farm milk was also worth 5 cedis, 47 pesos. After going down by 2 pesos. Now there's good news for MTN shareholders as each share now held is worth 72 pesos after going up by 2 pesos. And that's all for business on Newsnight.
Success of our show. Trusted, innovative financial services, providing inflation support and solutions. Customer-oriented, superior services. Your success of our show. 10 good years of loyalty, service with integrity, protective of our Ghanaian brand. 10 years of Texas, 10 years of loyalty. Your success of our show. Oh yeah, your success of our show.
Your success, our passion.
Thank you, folks. On my A list today, show some love for Contractor EB. So, Contractor, what do you think about the country's changing skyline?
Oh, send them down there, Shayuma. Across skyline, they change you, papa.
Wow. Contractor, don't you get worried when you hear of buildings collapsing?
I'm out for an answer on Tassam. It is the lackability of using low quality product.
Please explain why.
Yeah, cement is no quality on your gasem. Village of Fefu. It was built with gasem. Says the gasem is your construction. Osi ho pumping. She N1 KJT market. Kotokana Kumasi Airport. Cape Coast Stadium. Atwabu gas project in na. Gasebo. Messi what the quality. You know what is quality?
Gasem. 3 cement grades. Greater value. Gasem. The nation builder.
Ma, please give me your phone. Let me make a quick call.
So you're still on that network that gives you fair data and talk time, where Vodafone has double the Red 1, Red 2, and Red 5 offers. For 5 CDs, Chikra. You get 250 minutes to call all networks, 250 megabytes data, and more.
I'm moving to Vodafone today.
Switch to Vodafone to enjoy double Intuswar on red bundles of 1, 2, and 5 CDs. Enjoy double talk minutes to call all networks and double data to browse. Vodafone always gives you more. Dial *200# to subscribe now. Terms and conditions apply.
The future is exciting. Ready?
Joy 99.7 FM.
And you're still live here on Newsnight, and I've just been joined by my colleagues Hans Mensah Ando and Gary Al Smith, and it's time for sports, and something interesting is happening in the front of Ghana football. What's that?
Of course, a major step towards restoring Ghana football to normalcy, and it has to do with the extraordinary Congress that today adopted the draft statute that was tabled before it by the normalization committee. And of course, if you remember the number 12 documentary, one of the takeaways was that people exploited gaps in the Ghana Football Association's statutes then. And so Gary Al Smith is here with me. We're telling us what major changes we are going to be seeing in the statute that has been adopted by the GFA's Extraordinary Congress today.
Right, so very, very quickly, there are 8 key ones that we identified. First of all is the big one, the term limit for a GFA president, which Kwesi Nyantakyi made unlimited, has been reverted back to what it was. So now the GFA president will be having 2 terms of 4 years each. Right. The other one will be that the GFA will no longer use government auditors, but will now employ internationally recognized institutions
like Deloitte and
KPMG and so on and so forth, the big 4. The executive council members can stand for 3 terms of 4 years, as opposed to an unlimited term previously, all in a bid to curb the abuse of power, of course. Now, the GFA Executive Committee will now be called something else. It will now be called the Executive Council. Okay. Now, the Normalization Committee has suggested that they be called the Board of Directors, but it wasn't taken to be called the Executive Council, because obviously FIFA also have what they call the FIFA Council. The GFA Vice President will be elected by the Executive Council at its maiden meeting. Don't forget that when Mr. Nyantichi changed the thing to the unlimited, he now had the power to choose, handpick a vice president, and now that will change. He will have to be elected by the Executive Council. One key thing, the big one, is that Congress used to be made up of 123 delegates. It's been reduced to 120. So 3 have been taken off. It's worth noting that the Normalization Committee had proposed a drastic reduction to a 94-member organization. So, last two. First is that juvenile football has been maintained. I use the word maintained because the Normalization Committee in their proposals had removed them entirely from the Ghana football structure. And the last one is that the 48 delegates of Division 1 have been maintained, quashing an initial proposal from the Normalization Committee for a reduction to 24. So we'll be having, if I run through them too quickly, it will be on my joyonline.com and through our infographics on Joy FM. Now.
And quick one also, there was an issue of a CEO, but of course that was maintained as the General Secretary of the Ghana Football Association.
Sure.
And the core function is that he will be signing contracts and then the FA president will be witnessing, correct?
Yes, instead of having the FA president who could do that unilaterally.
Okay, so there you have it. The major changes that will be seen in the Ghana Football Association statute as has been adopted by the Extraordinary Congress of the Ghana Football Association earlier today. Evans.
Thank you very much, Hans Mensah Ando. So live here on Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM. And to that developing story that we brought you, the very exclusive information we are getting tonight, that the PDS has been cleared of all wrongdoing in that scandal that rocked the power sector a few weeks back, and this is contained in the MIDA commissioned investigative report into the scandal surrounding the demand guarantees that were deemed to be fraudulent. In fact, that were first introduced by the energy minister. Well, the investigation found no evidence of fraud or conspiracy, and has totally cleared PDS of any wrongdoing. That report has gone to MIDA, and remember that is the report that the U.S. government says they will work with. I want to bring in now the former and Deputy Energy Minister John Jinapor, who's joining me on the telephone line right now. Mr. Jinapor, thank you for your time here on Newsnight.
Thank you very much.
Let me read you the conclusion of this report, and it's simple. And the conclusion says, we have not identified any information to suggest that either PDS, Cowbank, Downwell, and or personnel from MIDA committed or conspired to commit fraud or other malfeasance in relation to the demand guarantees. In fact, if you read the entire report, the summary of the findings, it suggests that the problem is with the reinsurers, Al-Qut, in Qatar, and not with the Ghana side. What's your reaction to this outcome?
I've read the report. That's a 35-page report. Go and look at the conclusion, and I refer to specifically number 7 and number 8, that when PDS was taking over ECG, they did not pay for the guarantee. They paid only 1 million from their equity. It is stated in the report.
That's true.
That they paid only 8%, claim to have borrowed about 7 million, and paid another 4.5 million from ECG's resources. That is not what the guarantee is supposed to be about. If the guarantee is supposed to be about taking over and using ECG's monies to pay for that guarantee, then what was the essence of the guarantee? And go and check that 7.5 million. Where was those monies secured from, and how were those monies transferred? The report also states that PDS failed to put up the bank guarantee. The report further confirms that when the Minister of Finance was accepting that guarantee in that form and shape, ECG wrote to the minister, cautioning the minister that the format and way in which the guarantee was presented was inimical to the interests of this country. And so I think that we should deal with the issues, and that's why I issued a statement today. I also have a second report from the government of Ghana. I have the 2 reports one report from FTI Consulting Group of USA, and the report from government itself, indicating how those monies were transferred and all those issues. I think that government must come clear on this matter.
Let me ask you.
Put out all the information out. Let you and I digest the information and make an informed decision.
I mean, yes, there are other aspects of this that raises serious fundamental questions. That's true. Although, yes, the conclusion is that they didn't find any evidence of fraud. But I must ask you, at the heart of this controversy was the validity of the guarantees. Now that we know that, and the report also established, I could still contest the validity. It still remains. It begs the question: what happens to that fundamental prerequisite?
Thank you very much, and that is the crux of the matter. The person who is supposed to have issued that guarantee, that will enable the government of Ghana or ECG call on the guarantee in the event of a default, says that this guarantee is not authentic. It's like I have a check. I present the check to you, and the bank says that this check is not authentic, and yet we want to claim that there's nothing wrong with that. It cannot be. We must safeguard the interest of this country. So there's no guarantee as I speak to you. And the other issue that I've raised is that the payment for that guarantee should have come from PDS. PDS paid only 1 million, only 8% of the total amount. Took over ECG, took ECG's monies, and turned around to pay for that guarantee. This is not proper. This is not fit for purpose. We can't allow this to continue.
Mr. Jinapa, I'm grateful. This is just coming to light in the last 1 hour or so. I'm sure in the coming days and hours it will really be explored in detail. But I'm grateful that you joined us. And the portions you read is the portion 7, the paragraph 7 of the conclusion says, of the 12.25 million that was charged by CalBank to PDS as fees relating to the payment securities, only 1 million, 8% was funded by an equity contribution by PDS shareholder. USD $7 million that is representing 57% was funded by a loan that was advanced by CalBank to another PDS shareholder. There's more to this that we'll be breaking down for you in the coming days. Let's go to South Africa now, because the Deputy South African High Commissioner to Ghana says media reports and contrary on social media reports has contributed to the Western situation in South Africa, where fellow Africans have been attacked by indigenous black South Africans. At least 5 people have believed to have died, and properties have been destroyed as well. Addressing the news conference here in Accra, the Deputy High Commissioner Thapelo Madumani says the attacks has been fueled by fake news.
Good things that many do are sometimes rendered or lessened by negative acts of a few. So where you have 100 people doing extremely well, just 2 have got to do the worst thing to be remembered. And when people remember, oh, it's from that country, oh, it's from that country. And it does not mean that all what we're saying is that, well, foreigners are dealing in fake goods, because it will also be indictment on ourselves that we let fake goods into our country. But it is part of a larger problem. And fake news abound at such a rate, it is unbelievable. So 98% of the things that you hear, or 99% of the things that you see on social media are not true. They only add to a volatile situation. A picture will be shown of a woman being beaten senseless, and they will put, hey, a South African woman beaten senseless in Nigeria, to say to South Africans, we're busy doing the same. And then they will show a picture that is not even in South Africa, and say, those are South Africans doing this. So social media has got this capacity, and there's nothing we can do about it now other than to come to yourselves and to say, this is not true and this is the stance. So we have realized that social media has contributed a lot to sowing panic, pandemonium.
Well, His Excellency Madumani also, meanwhile, condemned the attacks and assured the criminal elements in South Africa will be dealt with. And that's it for Newsnight tonight. My name is Evans Mensah. Enjoy the rest of your evening.